Hello, wonderful student. We're going to go over 1.2.1. What is the function? We're going to finish this lesson. And we are also going to be going over lesson 1.2.2. Can I predict the output? So, just a quick recap of 1.2.1. What we had to do in this lesson was recognize that we needed to learn a new notation. Instead of saying y equals 2x plus 5, we are now saying we can change y to become fx. Well, we don't say fx, we say f of x. And as a matter of fact, we can just rename these functions as much as we want to. So instead of it being y equals 2x plus 5, we can say f of x equals 2x plus 5, which is an equation, a function. Or we can call it a different name, g of x equals 2x plus 5. Or if you're really creative, you can also call it something else like Bob. That's a little extra, but you can call it Bob x. Did I say that correctly? No. Bob x is not Bob x. It's pronounced Bob of x. Just like I could say g of 2 and Bob of 92. When I say g of 2, that means I'm going to find the function g. Which one's g? This one. And I'm going to substitute the number 2 in for x. So 2 times plus 5. If I say Bob 92, that means I'm going to find the function for Bob, and I'm going to evaluate the number 92 by substituting 92 in for x. So if I do 2 times 92, what would I get? 2 times 92.
It's 184.
And 184 plus 5 would be 189. Well, that's the introduction of learning this new notation. After that, we just had to practice it. So for our first example, we had to plug in or substitute the number 3 in. You could choose in any numbers you want. For example, we chose 2 and 92 earlier. This time we had to substitute the number 3 in. Well, remember, anytime you substitute a number in, you must substitute it in with parentheses. So we went over that. For example, f of 3 would be 3 times 3 minus 1, because it has to go through the machine and a number has to come out. Well, if I evaluate f of 3, my final answer would be 8, because 3 times 3 minus 1 is 9 minus 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. We also evaluated other numbers. For example, we input the number 14. If I multiply 3 times 14 and do minus 1, I'll get, when I input 14 into the function named f, I will get 41 out. When I input a 3, we can practice it. How do we say this? When I input a 3 into the function named f, I will get an 8 as my output. Additionally, we also evaluated the negative 10. If I put negative 10 into my function, what's 3 times negative 10? Minus 1. 3 times negative 10 is negative 30, and negative 30 minus 1 is negative 31. So, how do we say this answer? If we had to write a sentence out, we'd say, when I input negative 10 into my function named f, or Bob, get a negative 31 out. Okay, for the classes that did not finish letter C, here's the next question. If the output of this function is 24, what was the input? Remember, for this one, we're looking at the function named f. The output is 24. The input is, I don't know. But the function is the same. F of x equals 3x minus 1. Well, what number goes in to get 24 out? We tried to figure this out. Was it 8? What's 8 times 3? minus 1. Well, 8 times 3 is 24. 24 minus 1 is 23. That's close. So it's not 8. Is it 9? What's 9 times 3 minus 1? 27. 27 minus 1 is 26. It's too big. So we learned a method. It's this right here. F of something is 24. Well, what's my function name? My function name is 3x minus 1. So this is something that I can do. This is very cool. This is very important because if you can do this, you could figure out whatever input it is, even if it's a decimal. So watch this. F of something is 24. F of something? Well, the function is right there, where x is the unknown. And we want the output to be 24. Well, look at this. This is an equation that we can solve. 3x minus 1 equals 24. If I add 1 to solve this equation, I will get 3x equals 25. 3 times something is 25. I have to divide by 3, and x equals 25 over 3. Well, what's 25 divided by 3?
That would be approximately 8.3333.
That's approximately 8.33. Or you can say that's 8.3 with a bar on top because the 3 goes on forever. So that's a tricky question, but you could figure out any input just by setting, if you know the output, set it equal to the function and get your input answer. So that's your x. That is your answer. X equals 8.3. Okay, we're going to go ahead and flip this over. Working on the next question, problem number 35. So, problem number 35 says this. Determine the relationship between x and f of x in the table below and write the equation. So keep in mind, x and f of x just means x and y. We have an input and we have an output. X is our input. Write this down. X is our input. And f of x is our output. It's our answer for x when it goes through the function named f. It's the output. So we have to look at this pattern here. What kind of pattern do we see? Usually we see patterns when we're given both an input and an output. So what kind of pattern can you see with these three? We were able to figure it out. Oh, I know this. If you multiply by itself, you get the number up there. That's true. What's another way to say multiply by itself? X times x? What's x times x? X squared. But here's the thing. When we're trying to figure out the function, we got to go from the input, x, to the output, f of x. So what would make the equation for going from this number to this number? From 49 to 7, from 25 to 5, from 1 to 1. Square root. Square root. Square root is the opposite of square. So what's the square root of 9? 3. What's the square root of 100? 10, because 10 times 10 is 100. What's the square root of 4? 2. Ooh, working backwards. What input gives us an output of 4? 16. 0. And this one's weird. But if we input 20 into our function, we get, what's the square root of 20? The square root of 20 is the square root of 20. But you could figure that out as a decimal. Remember, with your graphing calculators, you can do square root by doing second and pressing that button right there, square root. So second square root of 20, was it 20? Yeah. Square root of 20 is this decimal. So you can also say that's approximately 4.47, but square root of 20 is the exact answer. Okay, now we're going to go over problem number 36 through A through I. So these are 9 problems that I wanted you to finish as best as you could, and now it's our time to check our answers. So problem number 36 says this: determine the corresponding outputs or inputs for the following functions. If there is no possible output for the given input, explain why not. Oh wow, I didn't see that part. We're gonna have to explain something. Here we go. Letter A. Let me try and zoom in here. Perfect. Letter A. We're going to input -3 into the function. I'm going to show my work like this. Input -3 into the function named f. I will replace x with -3. Now let's check our work. Did we get the right answer? Let's see. -2 times -3. Negative is positive. We get 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. So we can say our final answer, f of -3, is equal to 10. Next question. We're inputting 2 into the function, so f of 2 is 3 times 7 to the power of 2. Okay, what comes first in the order of operations? PEMDAS. Parentheses. Do we have parentheses? No. Do we have exponents? Yes. We have to do exponents before we multiply 3 times 7. So 7 squared. What's 7 squared? Yes, 7 squared is 49. 49 times 3. That will be, let's see, I'm going to just ask 3. 49 times 3.
It's 147.
147. So final answer, f of 2, input of 2, into the function named f gives us an output of 147. All right, next question. This one says, what input do I input into the function named f where I get an output of 125? So what number to the third power is 125? So we could try numbers. Is it 2 cubed? Is it 3 cubed? Is it 4 cubed? Is it 5 cubed? Is it 6, etc.? Otherwise, what's the opposite of cube root? Yeah. I know this one. It's going to be 5 to the third power. Let's double check. What is 5 to the third power?
It's 125.
5 to the third power is 125. So the answer is f of 5 is 125. Because 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Okay, let's move down to letter F, since it's right below. Letter F. What input gives us an output of 99? So let's look at this equation right here. It says x squared minus 1. What number squared minus 1 is 99? Is it 5 squared? 6? You could try different numbers, but yes, the correct answer would be 10. F of 10 is 10 squared minus 1. What's 10 squared? 100. And 100 minus 1? 99. So we know f of 10 is 99. The answer for that is 10. 10 is the correct input. Okay, next one here. I think I'll just move down this way. Letter I. Let's check letter I. Okay, letter I. We're going to go ahead and input -4 into this function. They're all named F. Why didn't they change the name of them? I could have named them Bob, could have named them G, H. So the absolute value of -4 minus 2. No parentheses here because parentheses doesn't really matter for this one right here. What's the absolute value of 4? Basically, turn negative 4 into a positive number. You get 4. 4 minus 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. So f of negative 4 equals 2. 2 is the output. Let's box that answer. Okay, next question. I want to make sure everybody has that one there. Next question is going to be, let's go to problem letter D. Letter D is an interesting one. F of 2. If I square root negative 2 and then add 1, what do I get? Let's see. What's the square root of negative 2?
It's approximately 1.414 to imaginary unit.
Imaginary. Okay, let's try the calculator. That means something weird is happening. What is the square root of negative 2? Error. Non-real answer. For this year, you're going to say you can't square root a negative number. So you're going to say no output. Cannot square root a negative number. So as you can see, sometimes it's possible that we don't have an output because the number is impossible. Okay, next problem. Letter E. Okay, we're going to find out f of 2. 2 plus 3 over 2 times 2 minus 5. I use parentheses there because it's multiplication. Okay, that's going to give us 2 plus 3 is 5. And 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 5. That gives us 5 divided by, what's 4 minus 5? Negative 1. 5 divided by negative 1 is negative 5. So f of 2 equals negative 5. If you got that one, nicely done. It's a pretty tricky one. Let's move on to letter G. All right, this one's an absolute value one as well. The absolute value of what number is negative 3? Well, have you ever seen an absolute value turn a number into a negative? No. Even if this was negative 3, what's the absolute value of negative 3? Positive 3, right? Absolute value. These symbols right here turn every number positive after you've evaluated them. So this one's going to say no output. Oh, I made a mistake. The output was given to us. No input. There's no input that would make this work. Why? It says to explain. Absolute value results, this is one way to explain it, results in positive number answers. All right, let's go on to letter H to finish lesson. Which lesson is this? 1.2.1. Okay, letter H. Let's find out what f of 4 is. Let's check our work. Did we do this correctly? Let's see. 1/2 times 3 to the power of x. Well, x is 4. 1/2 times 3 to the power of 4. What is 3 to the power of 4? Let's see. 3 to the power, using the caret button, of 4. That's 81. And it says 1/2 times 81. What is 81 divided by 2? 40.5. So f of 4 is 40.5. All right, I'm going to challenge you. How do you say this in words? How do you say this in words? When I input, this is going to finish the lesson 1.2.1. When I input the number 4 into the function named F, I get a 40.5 out. All right, that wraps up lesson 1.2.1. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. I hope that you find excellent practice. And let's move on to the next lesson.